Okay, so I watched the Alex O'Connor and David Wood debate, and Alex O'Connor brought up Jesus being worshipped. And I think Alex O'Connor, he had some good points because when Jesus is worshipped, he's not worshipped as God. Rather, he's worshipped as the Messiah or the King of or the Messiah and King, and not because he's God. We read in Matthew chapter 2 verse 11 that the three wise men worshiped Jesus because the Magi or the three wise men believed that Jesus was the King of the Jews in Matthew chapter 2 verse 2. So the reason why Jesus was worshipped was because he was the Messiah and not because he was God. But regardless, they Alex O'Connor brought up the Greek word that is used here. The Greek word used is proskino, which means to express, which in Greek to English means to express an attitude or gesture, one's complete dependence or submission to a higher authority figure. So this was very common in the Old Testament era. We read that David worshiped Jonathan in 1 Samuel chapter 20 verse 41. Again, the Greek word used is proskeno, which is again used in the New Testament too. Abigail worshiped David in 1 Samuel chapter 25 verse 41. The servant in the parable worshiped his master in Matthew chapter 18 verse 26. Joseph's brother were Joseph's brothers worshipped him in Genesis chapter 43 verse 26. Lot worshipped the two strangers that came to Sodom in Genesis chapter 19 verse 1. Abraham worshipped the pagan leaders of the land in which he lived in Genesis chapter 23 verse 7. So the reason why people are worshiping Jesus is because he's the Messiah and he's the future he's a king, he's a king. That's why they're worshiping him. But the big problem with saying Jesus was worshiped, that means he must be God, is there's a problem because if you read the Bible, if you read the Old Testament, humans worshiped humans. If you read Daniel 2 and the verses I just cited in the Old Testament, people worship people. Does that mean people are God? No, it was a sign of respect back in those days. James Dunn, who's a British Christian scholar, says in his book, Did the Early Christians Worship Jesus? That when people were worshiping Jesus, it was the same worship as in the Old Testament. They were just paying respect to Jesus. They're not worshiping him like they worship God, as there's a separation between worshiping people and worshiping